All right, everybody. Welcome to Fabulous Super Bowl Monday. Okay, hopefully you guys didn't have too much fun yesterday, and by too much fun, I mean alcohol and food, of course. Okay, it was a great game. Okay, and obviously the better team that day won, Kansas City. Congratulations if you're a Kansas City fan. Great stuff. Okay, and today we are very fortunate. This first Monday, hold on one second, folks. Okay, we already had some people jumping on the call. It gets a little loud, so I had to mute you guys, unfortunately. Larry, if you could hit *6 on your phone and then just let me know when you've done that, then I'll do the quick intro.
Okay, can you hear me?
There you are, nice and clear. The lovely state of California, the manager of our Yerba Linda office, Mr. Magnificent, and one heck, of a manager, Larry Tait. Larry, welcome.
Thank you. Good morning.
You like my intro there, huh?
I liked it. Very good.
Well, today I like to bring a little energy and enthusiasm as you do to your office meetings. But let's start with this, okay, because a lot of people on this call today don't know who you are. So give us, and I know that we hate doing this, but give us a little how long you've been in the business, all that good stuff. Take us through, just give us a little, like, a few-minute history of how long you've been doing this, where you've been, and all that good stuff.
Well, it's kind of a long history, so I'm not sure I can cover it in just a couple minutes, but I'll give you the story.
Yeah.
I actually moved to California from the East Coast. I was working for a professional basketball team back there, and I took a job with an investment consulting firm. They did investments for professional athletes, negotiated their contracts. We managed about 50 partnerships of their investments. So in 1987, I guess, I decided I kind of wanted to start my own business and go into real estate, got my license, and then in 88, I started part-time as a part-time agent. So obviously I've been doing this a long time. 95, yep. I'll tell you a quick story because this is a true story. Everybody always asks me why I got into management, and I always tell them, well, I kind of got tricked into management. And what happened was the owner of my office called me into his office and said, LT, he slams his hand on the desk. He says, LT, my office is like a Ferrari. It's sitting next to the freeway. Nobody will drive it onto the freeway and go 100 miles an hour. And being the arrogant guy I am, I slapped my hand on his desk. I said, I'll drive your Ferrari onto the freeway, but I get to decide how fast I drive it. I get to decide if I want to make a left turn or a right turn or a U-turn. And he slapped his hand on the desk. He says, done. And I slapped
You're
my hand
hired.
on the desk. Yeah. I slapped my hand on the desk. I said, and if I put a dent in your Ferrari, you're going to pay to fix the dents. And he slapped his hand on the desk. He says, no problem, but if you total my Ferrari, I'm taking your license away. And I slapped my hand on the desk. I said, done. Next day, I was managing the real estate office. And
wow.
It didn't go very well in the beginning. First 3 weeks, the top 3 producers in my office left. They went to start their own company. And I actually remember going home and telling my wife, I wouldn't buy any furniture. This job is not going to last very long. But we kept going. We kept driving it fast. And we grew that office from about 70 agents to over 300 agents. It became one of the top producing credentials in the country for many, many years. It was in the top 10. And so during that process, I kind of fell in love with managing. I fell in love with building agents' careers, building an office. It was just fun to build it from the ground floor up. So about 4.5 years ago, Mark Stark moved into California with his first office. Had an opportunity to join him here in Yorba Linda. He had about 30 agents at the time, and we started growing that office. And now, 4.5 years later, we've got a beautiful office building. We're up to about 180 licenses, and our goal is to build it to somewhere between 250 and 300 agents, and keep building the office and the agent's career. So, and obviously Mark's growing like crazy in California. Really an exciting time for all of us. It's awesome. And so
really is, and I appreciate your energy. That was a really good Reader's Digest version, and I learned 2 things about you that I didn't know before. So I love it.
Oh, is that right? Well, I've been in business since 80. I've been managing for about 25 years. If you ask my agents, they'll tell you I've been doing this for 138 years. So it's been a long time.
I was just on the phone with one of your agents. I told her you were being interviewed. She goes, oh, I'm going to be on.
Oh,
So
cool.
they love you, Fifi. That was Fifi. She's having a good year too. She's killing it. So
Yes,
that's
she is.
great.
She's off to a great start.
Yep, she is. All right. So and I would say that you're a huge part of that. By the way, I was just at your office last week, and you know what? There is a buzz going on. So you know what I thought we'd start with is, since you know, and I think that everybody should know this. That's why I want you to go through this with them. You know, one of the things you do, I think you call it state of the real estate economy, right? When you do for your office, something like that,
Yes.
right?
State of the market.
Yeah. Okay. State of the market. That's it. Okay. So now, and I know everybody on this call is not from California, but all our markets are growing in jobs and so forth. So give them a little rundown of like the highlights that you give them about what's going on in your area, job-wise, inventory-wise, the whole rundown. I think that'd be really good for them
Sure.
to hear. Yeah.
Well, the purpose of the state of the market is to make sure our agents have the most accurate, up-to-date information on what is truly happening in the market. So many times our clients see these headlines, and the headlines kind of paint a bleak picture of what's going on. And so we do a state of the market. It's with the actual articles, and we pull the bullet points out of those articles that really tell the truth about what's happening. And for instance, just a couple of weeks ago, I showed an article. The headlines were big and bold, and it said, California home prices will drop between 25 and 50%. And you have to read down into the article to find out that that will happen when our median price hits 900,000. So we did an analysis with an appreciation spreadsheet and showed, look, even if it appreciates at 5% per year from where we are today, it will take 5 to 6 years to hit that 900,000. Then if it drops, it'll drop in 5 or 6 years to the price it's at today, which means your clients can buy the same house at the same price 5 years from now, and who knows where the interest rates are going to be. So we give them all this information so that when they're talking to clients, have them come into an open house, they can just pick or choose 4 or 5 bullet points out of that and give what Mark Stark calls the elevator speech. And they can tell them exactly what's going on to build credibility and to show they have valuable information. For instance, right now in Orange County, our active inventory is at 3,900. It's the 4th lowest we've had in the last 20 years. The months of inventory is down to 1.7 months. That's the lowest we've had in 3 years. And everybody knows if you hit 6 months, you're at a break-even market. Below 6 is a seller's market. So we still have a lot of growth to go. In fact, in our area, the 5 cities that we primarily do business in, we're at 1.3 months of inventory. Interest rates are at a 50-year low. Unemployment's at 2.4%. Anything below 3 is 100% employed. California's generated 2.8 million jobs in the last 10 years. It's the largest number in the entire country. Wages have gone up because of that, and it's the largest increase in the entire country in 2019 in wages. So to be able to reel off those bullet points to show exactly what's happening in the market gives our agents credibility and gives our clients valuable information so they can make good, valuable decisions when they're deciding to buy or sell a house.
Absolutely, I love it too, and I think so. Just give them some of the highlights of the economy in Orange County. Everybody's always curious, I think, about California too. So just to give an idea of what you show them about what's going on, like who's hiring and the stuff that you run through. Just give them a couple of tidbits.
Well, everybody's hiring right now. Again, our unemployment rate's at 2.4%. So literally that means there's more than 100% employment, and there's not enough skilled workers to take the jobs that have been created. So they're stealing people from other company with those skills, giving them increases, or if the current company wants to keep them, they're raising their wages. It's just growing like crazy. If you think about this area, we have the Los Angeles Rams are building a $2.8 billion complex that they and the Los Angeles Chargers are going to play at. Los Angeles Clippers have a proposal to tear down the old Forum and build a new basketball arena right next to that arena. The guy that did all the Star Wars movies, what's his name?
George Lucas.
He's building a $1 billion museum in Los Angeles. Disneyland had a $2.4 billion expansion to their park, and we built this year. They're projecting 50 hotels are being built, and they're going to open in Orange County. Disneyland is building a 30-story timeshare right next to Disneyland. There's just so much growth and so much building going on that there's just no way to stop it, and the jobs keep being created because of all of that.
Yep. It's kind of like you and I go back and forth on our predictions, and so far we've been pretty accurate. And I agree. I think myself, I think that there's at least, and Mark and I talk about this too. Mark won't go back past 2 years, but this year and next year look really good, which is really good and bad though. I mean, it's really good because you can show up and do very well in the business. But from an inventory standpoint, if you really want to control your destiny, you need to be working on inventory. And I know you help them with that. Like, I know you have a tremendous farming. Give them some tidbits about your farming campaign, what you teach your agents as far as how to farm in today's market.
Yeah, well, I was a farmer as an agent, and I've worked with many agents that have built their careers through farming. And I'm not sure about the other 2 states, but here in California, if you look at all the top agents, they're all controlling the geographic area, and that comes through marketing themselves to a geographic area. And the presentation I do, I call Concepts of Farming. I actually call it the McDonald's concept. And to show you how smart I am, I learned this concept from my daughter when she was like 3 years old, because she thought every place that sold a cheeseburger was a McDonald's. If we drove by Burger King, she'd say, "Daddy, McDonald's wants a cheeseburger." So as a farmer, I learned that concept, and what I found out was that McDonald's was always contacting my daughter when she was 3 years old. Every show she watched had a McDonald's commercial on it, with the clown and the little hamburglers and all that. And I'm like, why are they contacting her? She doesn't have any money. Well, as she grew, there were still McDonald's commercials on whatever show she was watching. And what I found out was what they're trying to do is saying, all right, you don't have any money now, but if I keep contacting you over the years, when you have a need, when you enter the workforce, your life's going to be more fast-paced than anybody's life has ever been before. You got a need for fast food, you're going to think about McDonald's. And sure enough, one night I was at my daughter's basketball game. I beat her to the court. She walked into the court carrying a McDonald's bag. She walks up to me and says, "Honey, you went to McDonald's." She says, "I know, I was hungry." I said, "Yeah, but you chose McDonald's. There's 7 fast food places between your part-time job and this court, and you went to McDonald's. Why'd you go to McDonald's?" She said, "I was hungry." And I said, "Yeah, but this is my concept." She says, "Shut up, Dad," and she left and went and sat with her friends. But see, they contacted her so many times over the years, she doesn't even realize that when she had a need to grab some fast food, McDonald's just popped out of her subconsciousness, and she went there and got a cheeseburger. Yeah. So all the major corporations do that. If you think about cars and Starbucks and whatever you can think of, literally they are all contacting you consistently over a long period of time for a chance at your future dollars, disposable income. And right now, that's how farmers do it. They're contacting people that they don't even know that next July will pick up the phone and call them and say, "I need to sell my house." But you have to do it consistently. You have to be marketing yourself consistently over a long period of time. It's not about getting rich quick, but it's about building your real estate career and grabbing a geographic area that will continue to feed you for many years to come. And it's called the McDonald's
and you
concept.
mentioned, I love it. And you mentioned the other markets, and just so you know, everybody, the average turnover rate in California is between 4 and 5%, and in Phoenix and in the Las Vegas area, you can't find a neighborhood probably below 7. Most of them are 7, 8, 9, and so it actually works as well or better because of the turnover rate in other states as well. So,
yeah,
all right, cool.
We do schedules and budgets, and every budget I've ever done for an agent shows if they just get one listing sold for the year out of that farm marketing budget, they are profitable every time, just with one.
Right, even just one.
Typically, yeah, and it typically takes 2 to 3 years to grab control of that, and you end up doing 10. When I did it as an agent, I kept expanding, and I was mailing to 2,200 homes a week. And I had to sell 7.5 listings, I think, just to pay for my mailers. And I was taking 50 to 60 listings a year because I was contacting so many people on a consistent basis. Look at all the top agents is what they're doing.
Yeah, they have a lot. They do the phone, they do some mailing, they do,
right.
And hopefully, I would never, eliminate the door knocking part of it because that's where the human connection comes in.
Oh no, I agree. If I had a farm where there was really a good door knocker, he did more business in that farm than I did because he was in front of them. He was establishing rapport, relationships.
Right.
But there were always some people he couldn't get in front of, and that's what
Right. And
those
it's,
were the leads I would get.
yeah, and it works. There's so many different ways it works as long as you're being consistent, like you just said, the key words.
Right. Exactly.
Okay,
yeah, you
so
combine the marketing with door knocking, you'll totally control the farm.
okay, cool. Any other ways right now that you see getting inventory be good? Because let's face it, that's kind of an important thing. I know farming is good. What else do you talk to your agents about getting inventory?
Well, we're really focused on open houses right now because there are so
Okay.
many buyers in the marketplace. It's just we have multiple offers going on everything right now. But also what we're finding in our open houses is that a lot of the neighbors are coming in and asking questions because they're thinking about selling, but they don't have the information. They're just kind of checking into it. So every Monday I send out an email to my agents and ask for feedback on how many groups of people, not people, but groups came through their open house. And like last weekend, we averaged 15 groups of people through every open house. And so what we're really focused on is inviting the neighborhood to the open houses because there's so many people who are in their houses thinking about selling, but they need more information. So we're really focused on inviting the neighbors. And actually, just in the last 2 weekends, we've gotten like 6 or 7 listing presentations out of our open houses. Also focused on inviting also focused on surrounding neighborhoods. There's a lot of neighborhoods where if you just take a step down in price and invite all of them to the open houses, people are looking at moving up. They've got good jobs. They've got equity in their homes now. So we're inviting the move-up market to the open houses also.
That's great. That's great. You know, and it's the first time in many years. Well, actually, the exact story you told me when I was in your office on Thursday about the seller countered and the buyer countered back at higher. Tell them that quick story about that guy that, what do you think, 50? Go ahead, tell them.
We're seeing a lot of that. In fact, we're advising our clients if they get a multiple counter from the seller to counter back higher because the other buyers are doing it. And we had a deal where it was an $850 home and our buyer offered $840 and got a multiple counter back at $865. So our buyer countered at $870. Seller countered back at $885. So our buyer countered back at $900, and he didn't get the house. So it sold
and
for
still
well
didn't
over
get the house.
$900,000. Still didn't get the house.
Yeah.
So it sold for over $900,000, more than $50,000 over the list price. And we're seeing that a lot.
Here's the lesson to my my friends and people I coach in Phoenix area, Scottsdale, and Las Vegas who think the market's tight there. It's not that tight. It's much tighter where you guys are, and I tell them that all the time.
Oh,
so that's just interesting with the way it's going, and it's going to get tighter before it gets better. The one good thing we got going right now, well, the one good thing you guys got going, well, there's obviously a whole bunch of good things, is that there are a decent amount of people for the first time ever that are moving out of California into the Las Vegas, Phoenix area, which is really good. But you guys have so many people moving in that it'll never be an issue as far as, it's always going to be a tight inventory thing when the market's this hot.
Yeah, and I think there are more people coming on the market, and as we get further into spring, there'll be a lot more listings, but there's just so many buyers that inventory is going to get absorbed fairly quickly. So we're in no danger of climbing to too much inventory to meet the demand. It's just getting eaten up so fast.
Right, and you guys don't have that much new construction, so it's always going to be an issue for sure. All right, cool. All right, so I love it. Okay, so the open houses are fabulous. Okay, so I always like to get this question in, and I want you to give me like 3 pretty detailed answers because we still have 10 minutes left. Okay, so you're a brand new agent or you're an agent who wants to go to the next level. Okay, based on what you see happening and how you coach your agents, what would be the 3 most important things you tell them to focus on?
Well, I think actually we've been focused on that recently here in my office. One of the presentations I did recently is that new agent or looking to go to the next level, we're all looking for that newest shiny penny on how to develop a real estate career, right? What's going to drive leads to us? What's going to drive clients to us? And we're always constantly looking for the new thing. And we tend to overthink the process a little bit, I think. And what I told my agents is that, there's really only 10 ways to prospect for real estate leads. We aren't doing anything new since the 60s. Other than the internet and social media, we're still doing real estate the same way. So we have to stop overthinking it, and we have to go back to the basics, and that's what we're focused on in my office. And that basic is just the most simple thing. Talk to the people. You got to get in front of people. You got to have verbal communication with them, face-to-face communication with them, and tell them what's going on in the real estate market. Give them the truth about what's the state of the market. Give them the bullet points, and then ask them, who do they know that can take advantage of this real estate market? Because we stopped talking to people, and we all went to these shiny pennies that were going to drive us leads. I did an analysis in my office and the other 3 offices we have in this area for 2019. 75% of all of our transactions came from social sphere, past clients, or referrals from one of those 2 groups. So I think it's really, really important we focus on those groups, we stay in touch with them, we follow up with them, and we tell them what's going on in the market. And everybody you know knows 6 other people, right? So 6 degrees of separation. Somebody they know is thinking about buying or selling real estate, but you got to talk to them and you got to ask the question. So that's
you can't be a secret agent, as I teach them. You can't be a secret agent, as I teach them in Real Estate Success Series. You got to talk to people. I mean, that's why, when you ask somebody, why did you get in this business? I love people. Well, you got to talk to them. I love houses. Right. You got to go see more.
Right, exactly. And I'll tell you, my agents were shocked that 75% of our transactions came from our social and past clients, because they tend to stop contacting them, right?
Right.
And so often I'll talk to an agent who said, okay, I took your advice, I started calling. I said, hey, how'd it go? And they say, well, I called this one person. He says, oh, we haven't heard from you in so long. I'm so glad you called. We just closed escrow on our new house. We want to have you over to dinner. That's a true story. And it happens all the time. Everybody has experienced that, right? So we're really focused on making sure we're contacting people. We actually stole one of Mark Stark's ideas, which is his 4x4x4, and that is every day get up, spend an hour, call 4 people, text 4 people, email 4 people. And if you do that over the course of a week, you've contacted 60 people. Over a year, it's like 3,000 people. If you contact 3,000 people in a year, give them valuable information, you're going to sell a lot of real estate, right?
I love it. That's cool. That's awesome stuff. Okay, so that's number 1. Back to the and I teach them the same thing, as you know. Talk to people. Right. There's only a few ways you can do it. Door knocking, calling. There's a bunch of lead sources, which we go over a lot of. Okay, so that's the number 1. Get back to the basics. Keep it simple. And I would even say build your foundation, which is critically important.
Right.
All right, so that's pretty much, I'm paraphrasing what you said. Okay, so what would be the number 2 thing you would tell them right from the beginning?
I think one of the biggest weaknesses we have is just follow-up. In other words, we have so many leads coming from our open house, and people are giving us phone numbers and email addresses, and we call them, and they don't return our call, or they just aren't interested in talking to us. So we tend to kick them to the curb. Well, just because they're not returning our call doesn't make them bad people, or they're not going to buy or sell real estate. If they came to your open house, they're probably going to buy a house pretty soon. So it's really important that even if you're not getting the feedback, to continue with the follow-up. And that, again, is where some of the 4x4x4 comes. Keep following up. Keep calling them. I had an agent the other day say, so how many times should I call this person? And I said, has he told you to not ever call me again? And she goes, no. I said, keep calling them. Because the follow-up is so important to our business, and we tend to just assume that they're not interested. Doesn't mean they're not interested. They're not ready yet. The event hasn't happened in their life. Keep following up with the people.
Right, and I got this number from NAR. Whenever I can quote NAR, I do, because everybody pays to belong. National Association of Realtors. They say take 7, and that includes your initial contact. So 1 initial, 6 follow-up for them to be ready to sign a contract with you or set an appointment that's going to be valuable. And most agents give up after 2 or 3. I called them 3 times. They didn't call me back. Okay, you're halfway there. Keep going.
Right.
So, absolutely. Yeah, the old saying, Larry, right? The fortune is in the follow-up.
That's exactly right. And it's so important to everybody's career, but it's just the nature of the beast. We just don't do it enough.
Absolutely. All right, cool. So there we go. All right, so get back to the basics. Keep it simple. Talk to people. Second one is the fortune is in the follow-up. And what would be the third one, my man?
Well, the third one, and I kind of stole this from Mark. I really liked his saying that you should stand shoulder to shoulder with your client. I think that so many times we are so focused on the commission and the income that we forget that it's really about the client. So we actually have a saying and posters in our office that says, measure your success by the positive impact you have on other people's lives. And it's so important to know that if you have a positive impact on those people's lives, that income and other clients will find you. They'll send you referrals. And the way you have a positive impact on their lives is by giving them accurate, truthful, and valuable information that they can enter into their decision-making process. So I actually stole that saying from Jackie Robinson, the baseball player. But measure your success by the positive impact you have on people's lives. Your business will grow like crazy if you stay focused on that and make the client the priority, not your commissions.
Yeah, and you know what? And I would say that even segues right into the golden rule about how to treat people, which,
right.
You know, like you just said, Larry, I mean, people can tell, and this is what I tell them. People can tell when you're all about you in a transaction, and people can tell when you're all about them in a transaction. And even your fiduciary responsibility as a real estate agent says that you need to put them first. And when you do that, you're right. It pays over and over and over. And, you know, my little term about that is I call it commission breath. When
right.
You're only about the transaction, it is stinky, smelly, transparent, and obvious, and people don't want to, and they definitely won't refer you. You might get through that transaction, but you're not. And honestly, Larry, that's one of my sneaking suspicions about why agents don't do, you know, NAR. Once again, says 80% of people, 80% of real estate agents never contact their client after the closing. And I think it's my sneaking suspicion is because they didn't do a tremendous job during the transaction.
Yeah, it could be. But I've had agents come to me who just did an open house this weekend and said it was amazing. I didn't say anything about settling for an appointment. I made it all about them. I gave them the valuable information, asked them what their goals in life were and things like that, made it all about them. And at the end of the conversation, they said, so can we give you our phone number? Can we go out and look at houses with you? They want people that care about them, right?
Yep.
So, yeah.
It's so true. It's so true. And then because it's so non-real estate salesperson,
right.
You know?
Right.
You know, the little pattern I teach, you know, list open-ended questions, repeat, approve, ask the next question. It shows them that you're all about them. All right, cool. Perfect timing. Any final thoughts you have, my man?
No, I think that was about it, unless you want to know anything else.
No, we covered a lot of stuff today. It's perfect timing. We're at 29 minutes. So, all right, well, Larry Tait, thank you very much, my man. Really appreciate your time. This has been incredibly awesome content. This will be up on my podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, you know the deal, Podbean or the podcast app. It'll also be on my YouTube channel. And do me a favor and subscribe so you can check out all my new videos. Larry, thank you very much. Everybody, go have a great week. Woo! Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Bye-bye now. Thank you.